SLT Mobitel Fiber, the fiber of the nation. SLT Mobitel Fiber, the fiber of the nation.
රෝස සුවඳ තවත් තිකු කලක් රැඳෙන්න ඩබල් පර්ෆියුම් ලුක් සමගින් එන නව සන්ලයිට් රෝස්.
Tonight, take them back. The Consumer Affairs Authority orders a recall of specific LITRO gas cylinders and calls for a new stock to be put out with a new seal. Take more care. A South African lab report sheds new light on Omicron behaviour and its possible higher transmissibility. Targeting the future. The Premier reaffirms Sri Lanka's maritime vision for the Indian Ocean.
Sri Lanka is embarking on an ambitious goal to become the maritime hub in the Indian Ocean.
Not true. The central bank governor refutes rumours of an imminent NRFC conversion plan. All that and much more coming up on First at 9. This Wednesday, the 8th of December, 2021.
ඉසේ සම පෝෂණය කර ඉසුරු ඉවත් කරමින් නැවත ඇතිවීම වළකයි. නව Clear Shampoo.
From AdaDerana, this is AdaDerana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening, welcome to First at 9. I'm Dhammik Ekanaik. Now then, the Consumer Affairs Authority today ordered LITRO Gas Lanka Limited to recall all unused domestic liquefied petroleum gas cylinders that were issued by them before the 4th of December. The authority also instructed LITRO Gas to replace such cylinders with a new stock containing the new white polythene seals with a red LITRO Gas logo on it.
The Consumer Affairs Authority has ordered LITRO Gas Lanka Limited and Loves Gas PLC to resume distribution of LP gas from the 5th of December, however, under several guidelines. The guidelines prohibit the distribution of cylinders imported prior to the temporary suspension of distribution announced on the 3rd of December. Accordingly, both companies resumed distribution of gas cylinders confirmed to be in adherence to standards as per the lab report obtained by the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation. The companies also added a new seal from their cylinders for easy identification in the form of a white plastic seal with a red logo. In addition, the Consumer Affairs Authority has fresh orders to LITRO Gas Lanka Limited, urging them to recall all unused domestic LP gas cylinders distributed to dealers and customers before the 4th of December. The authority also ordered the company to replace those cylinders with the new cylinders bearing the new seal. Meanwhile, the Presidential Committee of Experts appointed to investigate the LPG-related incidents in the country recently issued a statement with regard to the total number of explosions that have occurred so far during the year. Pertaining to the report, State Minister of Consumer Protection Lasantha Lagiyawanna stated in Parliament today that the government is looking into the possibility of compensating anyone affected by explosions. In the meantime, civil society activist Nagananda Kodituakku filed a writ petition at the appeal court against Trade Minister Dr. Banduru Gunawardena, State Minister of Consumer Protection Lasantha Lagiyawanna, the Chairman of the Consumer Affairs Authority, and the Director General of Sri Lanka Standards Institution with regard to the gas explosions. He requested the court to issue an order to Inspector General of Police to conduct an investigation against these officials under criminal law. Further, the petitioner also requested the court to issue an order to pay compensation to families affected by the explosions.
Trade unions coming under the state, semi-government and the private sector reported sick today after commencing a single-day protest action, urging the government to fulfill several demands that include an immediate salary hike. Also joining in the strike today was the Association of Health Professionals, who pledged to continue to strike if the government fails to fulfill their demands.
Trade unions belonging to state, semi-government and private sector began a single-day protest action calling on the government to fulfill several demands. Making the health sector a closed service and increasing salaries by 10,000 rupees were some of the demands of these unions, who called in sick during the day. The Association of Health Professionals launched their strike action only in the North Central Province today. They, however, are expecting to launch strike action within the Central Province tomorrow. The union representatives organised a protest march that commenced from the Kurunegala Teaching Hospital. The march concluded after the protesters reached the Kurunegala town. president of the association, Ravi Kumudesh, told media that the strike could turn into a much longer affair if the demands are not fulfilled. In the meantime, the trade union strike was also joined by the All Ceylon Ayurvedic Health Services Association. They urged the government to pay Rs 7,500 to Ayurvedic doctors treating COVID-19 patients, similar to what was offered to Western medicine practitioners. Their strike, which lasted until 4 p.m. today, heavily inconvenienced patients who arrived at the Ayurvedic Teaching Hospital in Boralla for treatment. Meanwhile, postal trade unions too protested during the day, calling for a salary hike of 10,000 rupees. Meanwhile, in the afternoon, members of the trade unions that engaged in strikes during the day conducted a joint protest near the Parliament roundabout.
Now then, a preliminary study conducted by South African scientists have shown a 41-fold drop in antibody ability to counter the Omicron variant, a higher figure compared to previous variants. The Delta and the Beta variants had only reported a 5- and 8-fold drop in antibody response, respectively. As such, Sri Lanka's leading immunologist, Dr. Chandima Jivandara, says this could mean that an increased number of breakthrough cases could be observed.
Since the presence of the Omicron variant was first announced to the world, there was very little information on its behavior, transmissibility, vaccine resistance, and how naturally induced immunity works against it. The World Health Organization and many other scientists, however, speculate that the variant might be more dangerous than its predecessors due to the high number of mutations on its spike protein. However, one of Sri Lanka's leading immunologists, Dr. Chandima Jivandara, revealed via Twitter today that a group of South African scientists have published the first lab data on the Omicron variant. Accordingly, the preprint study, which has not been peer-reviewed, states that a 41-fold drop in the ability of antibodies to counter the variant has been observed in patients who received the Pfizer jab. According to Dr. Jivandara, antibody responses against the Delta variant had only a 5-fold reduction, while there was an 8-fold reduction in antibody response against the Beta variant. However, the study pointed out that previous infection followed by vaccination or booster is likely to offer some protection from severe complications of the Omicron variant. Nevertheless, Dr. Jivandara stated that a high number of breakthrough cases could be expected, given the Omicron variant's increased ability to evade antibody responses. He added that emerging data from the UK suggests that high number of Delta cases and natural immunity developed by people may not be stopping the spread of the Omicron variant in the UK, and that we should anticipate a similar situation in Sri Lanka as well. With that, the Ministry of Health highlighted the measures that Sri Lanka has taken to further reduce the possibility of more Omicron cases entering the country. So far, Sri Lanka has identified one patient infected with the Omicron variant.
So therefore, we have already instituted several screening measures at the airport, including the presence of bringing a negative PCR test performed within the first 72 hours, and also ensuring that 2 doses of relevant accepted vaccines have been given, and anyone who is not complying with such standards will be subjected to different quarantine measures, and thereby we will minimize the possibility of entering the disease into the country.
In addition, Dr. Herath emphasized that public behavior during the festive season will be crucial in determining the country's COVID state.
In the coming festival days, there will be parties, there will be entertainment events, and there can be situations where people are gathering, eating and drinking with very close interactions with each other. Everyone who are participating in these events should keep in their mind that adhering to the health guideline will be the only way to escape from getting infected if an infected person is among yourselves or you're gathering. So therefore, always adhere to the health guidelines to the letter if you are participating in such events, and always try not to participate, and we might have to sacrifice this year's festival season also.
The main opposition, Samagi Jana Balawega, returned to Parliament today following the appointment of a committee of senior parliamentarians to probe the unruly behaviour witnessed in the House last week. However, the government benches rejected opposition requests to the Speaker to deliver an official order on the incidents, accusing them of ignoring parliamentary customs.
අපි ඔබතුමාට ස්තුතිවන්ත වෙනවා. මේ മന്ത്രിවරුන්ගේ ආරක්ෂා පිළිබඳ ඔබතුමාගේ අවධානය යොමු කරලා තියෙනවා. අපි ඒකට ස්තුතිවන්ත වෙනවා. ඒ වගේම ඔබතුමා කමිටුවක් පත් කිරීම ගැන කිව්වා. ඇයි මේ කමිටුවේ terms of reference කමිටුවේ බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ මොකක්ද කියලා හරියට පැහැදිලි නෑ. ඒ උනත් ඒකත් අපි හොඳ පැත්තකට ගමන් කිරීමක් බව මම විශ්වාස කරනවා. හැබැයි අපේ මූලික ඉල්ලීම වූයේ ගරු කතානායකතුමනි. ඔබතුමා මේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුව තුල ඒ දවස් දෙක තුල දැක්ක දේ ගැන ඔබතුමාට නියෝගයක් දෙන්න ඕන. අන්න ඒකයි මම කියන්නේ. ඔබතුමා දැක්ක දේ ඔබතුමා තමයි ප්‍රධාන සාක්ෂිකාරයා. නමුත් ඔබතුමා ඒ නියෝගය දීලා නැහැ. අපි කැමති නැහැ මේක පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ පිටට අරගෙන. අපි අතර මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ විසඳ ගන්න අපි අදත් කැමති. එහෙම වුණේ නැත්නම් අපිට අකමැත්තෙන් හරි අපිට මේක ශ්‍රේෂ්ඨාධිකරණයට අරන් යන්න සිද්ධ වෙනවා.
ප්‍රකාශ කළ වචන හොඳ ආකාර ගරු කතානායකතුමා විසින් පක්ෂනායක කමිටුවේදී අපි සියලු දෙනා සිටින කිරියාලේ මන්ත්‍රීතුමාත් සිටින අවස්ථාවේදී ප්‍රකාශයට පත් කරා. ඒ වචන මම සභාවට නුසුදුසු නිසා ප්‍රකාශයට පත් කරන්න යන්නේ නැහැ. ඒ නිසා ඔබතුමා විභාග කරන්න තමයි දැන් මේ යෝජනා කරන්න හදන්නේ. කිරියාල මන්ත්‍රීතුමා අලුත් මන්ත්‍රීවරයෙක් නෙවෙයි. අපේ ස්ථාවර නියෝග අනුව ගරු කතානායකතුමා ප්‍රශ්නයකට ලක් කරනවා නම් කටයුතු කළ හැකි ආකාරය ඉතා පැහැදිලිව තිබෙනවා. නිකම් ප්‍රකාශ නිකුත් කරන්න බෑ. ඊට එහාට මං කතා කරන්නේ නැහැ. සුප්‍රීම උසාවියට යන්න ඕන කෙනෙක්ට පුළුවන්. එහෙම නැත්නම් IPU එකට යන්නත් ඕන කෙනෙක්ට පුළුවන්. දැනටම ලියලා තියෙනවා. දැන් කිව්වා සාක්ෂිකාරයා ප්‍රධාන ඔබතුමා කියලා. IPU එකට යවපු ලිපිය එහෙම එකක් කියලා නැහැ. ඉතින් මම ඒවා ගැන දැනට ප්‍රශ්න කරන්න යන්නේ නැහැ. කාට හෝ වාසියක් අවශ්‍යයක් වෙනවද කියන එක පරීක්ෂණයට අදාළ කරුණක්. ඔව්.
In addition, JVP leader Anurukumara Dissanayake called on the government to present a copy of the New Fortress Energy Agreement to Parliament, adding that with the budget debate set to end on the 10th, it is of critical importance that the facts are presented.
මම මීට මාස එකහමාරකට පමණ පෙර New Fortress Energy සමාගම හා භාණ්ඩාගාර ලේකම්තුමා අතර ඇති වූ එකගතාවයේ ගිවිසුම පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න කියලා මා ඉල්ලා හිටියේ. ඒ වෙලාවේදී ලොකුගේ අමාත්‍යතුමා මේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට එකඟ වුණා. එළඹෙන සතිය ලබා දෙන්නම් කියලා. දැන් සති 6කට වඩා වැඩි කාලයක් ගිහිල්ලා තිබෙනවා. තාමත් ඒ ගිවිසුම පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට ඉදිරිපත් කළා නැහැ. ඒ විතරක් නෙමෙයි ගරු කතානායකතුමනි මෙම ගිවිසුම අත්සන් කිරීමේ ඒ කාර්යය සිදු වෙන්නේ මුදල් අමාත්‍යාංශ. භාණ්ඩාගාර ලේකම්තුමා අපේ රටේ ජාතික සම්පතක් සහ ඉදිරි මිලදී ගැනීම ඇමරිකානු සමාගමක් එක්ක එන ලද එකගතාවයන් පාර්ලිමේන්තුව අපිට දැනගන්න ඕන. ඒ ගිවිසුමේ යම් අඩුපාඩු තිබෙනවා නම් යම් කරුණු තිබෙනවා නම් අපිට 10 වෙනිදා විවාදයට ගත යුතු තිබෙනවා. නමුත් ගරු කතානායකතුන් දැන් සැලකිය යුතු කාලයක් ගත වෙලා තිබෙනවා. මේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේම ගිවිසුම ඉදිරිපත් කළා නම් ඒ වගේම මා දැක්ක මාධ්‍ය වාර්තා කළා තිබෙන එකත් ඇත්තද කියලා දැනගන්න ඕන. එම ගිවිසුමේ වගන්තියක් ඇතුළත් කරලා තියෙනවලු අවුරුදු 2ක් යනතෙක් ඒ ගිවිසුම සමාජයට මහජනයාට ප්‍රකාශයට පත් නොකරන බව. එහෙම එකක් තියෙනවද කියලාත් අපි දැනගන්න ඕන.
ඉතින් මේක අත්සන්කරේ මුදල් අමාත්‍යාංශ ලේකම්නේ. එතුමාට නියෝගයක් දෙන්න මේක පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ ඔබතුමාට ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න කියලා හෙට. එතකොට හෙට දවල් අපිට දෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ කාරණේ සම්බන්ධව හිටපු අගමැතිතුමත් අනුරකුමාර දිසානායක මැතිතුමත් කාරණේ ඉදිරිපත් කළා වෙනවා. කලිනුත් ඉදිරිපත් කළා. ඒ අවස්ථාවේදී විදුලි බලය කටයුතු පිළිබඳ ගරු අමාත්‍යතුමා එකඟ වුණා සභාවට එය ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න. ඉතින් යලිත් අපි අමාත්‍යතුමාට ඒ පිළිබඳ දැනුම් දෙන්නම්. මම විශේෂයෙන් ස්තුතිවන්ත වෙනවා ගරු මන්ත්‍රීතුමාලට මේ කාරණේ යලි නැගීම ගැන.
We will see you shortly on the other side of this break. Stay with us.
Big 3.
Welcome back. You're watching First at 9. Now then, Central Bank Governor Ajit Nimad Kabral took to social media yesterday to reject rumours pertaining to non-resident foreign currency accounts. The Central Bank Governor was addressing certain claims circulating on social media of the government having taken a decision to convert all foreign currency in NRFC accounts to Sri Lankan rupees. There have been many such claims in circulation since the central bank announced measures to shore up the country's forex reserves. This included a recent announcement of a crackdown on foreign currency remittances through illegal means that have been used to circumvent official methods such as state and private banks. Illegal remittance operators have been offering a more depreciated US dollar exchange rate to attract remittances from expat workers. Developed countries must cooperate with developing nations to conserve international ocean waters. Now, these were the remarks made by Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa whilst delivering the keynote address at the first World Ocean Summit Asia Pacific. The Premier added that Sri Lanka aims to promote ocean sustainability in multiple industries in order to generate economic growth in the short run and ensure the planet is saved in the long run while aiming to become an Indian Ocean maritime hub.
Sri Lanka has launched several initiatives to protect marine inhabitants while balancing present consumption needs and sustainability for future generations. Accordingly, Sri Lanka has banned the use of bottom trawling practices and other overfishing activities. As Sri Lanka is embarking on an ambitious goal to become the maritime hub in the Indian Ocean, we are also to focus on making shipping within our waters more sustainable. While we welcome more and more international ships to our newly constructed port facilities, we also understand that increased shipping traffic can pose a serious threat to whales, dolphins, and other oceanic inhabitants. As research and development activities required significant amount of financial and human resources, I invite well-equipped and developed countries to transfer sustainable marine technologies and knowledge to developing island nations, to improve ocean health and to enhance marine biodiversity. I believe that developed countries must cooperate with developing countries in conserving our international waters, as we all share the same ocean. Instead of making sustainability a limiting factor of the economy, we are determined to use our green agendas to generate more economic growth. The national policy of my government is to utilize ocean resources in a sustainable manner under the concept of a blue-green economy. As a developing country, Sri Lanka aims to promote ocean sustainability across industries such as tourism, fisheries, and shipping to attract economic growth in the short run while contributing to saving the planet in the long run.
Now then, TV Derana's corporate social responsibility arm, AdaDerana, was recognised at the United Nations Volunteers Sri Lanka Country Awards ceremony. The United Nations Volunteers Sri Lanka presented 50 awards to individuals and organisations that have contributed in various fields to the development of the country through volunteerism. The award ceremony was held in Colombo yesterday, marking the 50th anniversary of the United Nations Volunteers Sri Lanka. As such, AdaDerana bagged the award for public motivation and promotion of voluntary service in the country by the United Nations Volunteers Sri Lanka. AdaDerana's project chairman, Mahesh Jayawardena, received the award yesterday. AdaDerana has carried out various CSR activities across the country for the past 8 years. Now taking a look at the Colombo Bourse, the all-share price index fell by 67.10 points to end at 11,021.07, while the S&P SL 20 index of more liquid stocks dipped by 4.58 and closed for the day at 3,959.84 points. Turnover at the Colombo Stock Exchange today was recorded at 5.6 billion rupees. With that, here's Dimantha Mathi with a brief report on today's market performance.
Today the market saw a lot of volatility in the index as the ASPI moved sort of in a roller coaster pattern. Overall the index was down by 67 points. So in addition to that, today we saw other diversified financial sector counters getting activated, and with that investors were shifting with the herd mentality into some of the newer shares that were moving in value. In addition to that, there was a lot of interest in the energy sector counters. In addition to that, we are seeing this trend of shifting continuing from the last couple of days. Overall turnover levels were around the 5.7 billion mark and 42,000 transactions during the day. High level of retail activity continued throughout the day, and that is positively impacting the overall market. Though the market was onto negative territory, investor sentiment was more positive, and because of the high market cap of some selected counters, only we are seeing the negative index today.
While the rupee remained unchanged at 202.99 cents against the US dollar today. Now let's take a look at how the Sri Lankan rupee fared against other major currencies during the day. Olaf Scholz has been sworn in as Germany's new Chancellor, formally taking over after Angela Merkel's historic 16 years as leader. After taking office, he promised he would do all he could to work towards a new start for Germany. As she left the Chancellery, ending a 31-year political career, Merkel told her former Vice-Chancellor to approach the task with joy. His centre-left Social Democrats will govern alongside the Greens and the business-friendly Free Democrats. Scholz, a soft-spoken 63-year-old, steered the Social Democrats to election victory in late September, positioning himself as the country candidate. Or continuity candidate, I should say, because he played a key role in the Merkel government as Vice-Chancellor. The German Parliament backed him as Chancellor by 395 votes to 303, and he was then formally appointed as the 9th Federal Chancellor by President Frank-Walter Steinmeier. Now then, several countries in the Nordic region are focusing on imposing strict measures to control a rising spread of COVID-19. In the meantime, in India, they have accelerated vaccinations across the country to prevent the Omicron spread.
Efforts to control the spread of Omicron variant of coronavirus by increasing testings at railway stations and fully vaccinating the population of the country. Passengers were being tested at the railway station at the help desk, and if anyone was found positive, they were being isolated for further action. India's eastern Kolkata city also accelerated COVID-19 vaccination efforts, including in the hospitals catering to the rural population. In the meantime, the Norwegian government introduced stricter rules today to limit the spread of COVID-19, including a cap on the number of visitors in private homes and shortening the hours bars and restaurants can serve alcohol. The Nordic country has seen a surge of COVID-19 infections in recent weeks, followed by a rise in the number of hospitalizations. Households should not invite more than 10 visitors, and people must keep a distance of at least 1 meter from anyone who is not a member of the household. The serving of alcohol must stop every day. Meanwhile, Sweden is also planning to reintroduce a raft of measures to curb rising COVID-19 infections, urging renewed social distancing and the use of masks in public transport. Cases in Sweden have risen in recent weeks after a relatively calm autumn. Hospitalizations and the number of patients requiring intensive care are still among the lowest per capita in Europe, but have also started to creep higher.
Checks are still underway to verify the identity of the Saudi man arrested at a Paris airport yesterday over suspected links to the killing of journalist Jamal Khashoggi. A French government spokesperson said that he was hoping the investigation would bring clarity as soon as possible. French law enforcement sources yesterday named the man as Khalid Ade al-Otaibi, the same name as a former member of the Saudi Royal Guard listed in the US, and British sanctions documents and a UN Commission report as having been involved in Khashoggi's killing in Turkey. The security sources said that case was expected to be dropped and the main suspect released. The French spokesman said that the man was arrested because of an Interpol alert. One police source had said that the alert was triggered when the passport was scanned because it was flagged by a Turkish arrest warrant as part of the Khashoggi murder probe. A 2019 UN investigation report said al-Otaibi was a member of a 15-man Saudi team involved in killing Khashoggi after the journalist went into the Saudi consulate in Istanbul to obtain a document to allow him to marry his fiancée. And that's it from all of us here at First at 9. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.